Okay, welcome. You should be at Entrepreneurship. What is it? BMGT 448? Is that the right beat, Jan? Isn't that terrible? I don't even know my own course number. Man, I'm an old guy. I'm entitled to forget some of those things occasionally, but anyhow, maybe I got it on here. It's entrepreneurship. How's that? It's going to be kind of a mixed class. By that I mean, and that happens a lot of times with some of our upper level, especially minor only classes, where I end up having a few people that are distance students that are taking this. That's why I'm trying to get this microphone up here working, which I'm not sure that it's gonna, but if not, I'll have to figure out another way to communicate with them, so we'll take her from there. But and then, of course, you guys here face to face. This is a senior level, obviously, oftentimes kind of the capstone course for the small business management minor. I would guess that's why most of you are in here. It's a reasonably, I know in here, what do we got, 6, 7 folks, but I think there's 18 total signed up for the class. So that's decent sized actually for this type of a class. Which is good. Like to see people. It also means more projects for me to correct, but that's okay too. So it's a project class. We're going to get started right away. You guys are going to have an assignment for Thursday. It's going to get just started on your project. Okay, and you're going to work on this same project throughout the entire semester. And the project is building a business plan for whatever business you choose. Okay, that's going to be your assignment for Thursday, is telling me what business it is you might be interested in doing a business plan for. Okay, so it's not a real difficult assignment for Thursday, but an assignment nonetheless. My advice there is to keep it somewhat simple. Okay, by that, what do I mean? Let's say you're in the diesel program and what you'd really like to do is start your own diesel repair shop. Great, okay. Don't start with one that has 8 bays in it, and you're going to hire 10 mechanics and on and on and on, right? Think of something that's a little smaller. It's very easy to scale these business plans up. Once you've created a business plan like this, it's really easy to go back then and make adjustments to make it bigger, if that's what you ultimately choose to do. Or if you were to open the business and then 3, 4, 5 years down the line you're going to make it bigger, you can go back to that business plan and you can make those changes relatively easily. Okay, it's another whole story, building a business plan that is going to conquer the world. So my advice, you can take it or leave it. I guess that's up to you. I have had some folks that have struggled when they've tried to pick a project that was maybe a little bit too large, and then they'd get bogged down, because you got a semester to work on this, so I do expect a pretty high level of detail, pretty high level of performance, on and on and on, right? We break it down. Let me see who's here first. Most of you I know, but Austin, which one is that? You're Austin? Okay. I've seen you around forever. I don't know that I've ever been introduced to you. Haley, I don't know. Where's Jada?
I think she was with us. She's not.
Man. She still got 12 credits, doesn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, Vaughn. Maria? Just a lucky guess. Seth's hiding out in the back. We'll move you up a little bit, maybe. Today's fine, but and Wiley, right? Okay. Just kind of want to make sure I had everybody's name down. I had a pretty good idea who was who. So let me turn this on and we'll go over a few things in the class. While that's firing up, I'll do this. This is timely. This came in the paper last Thursday, January the 9th, and it's got the front page. It says, Donovan approaching 25 years with family jewelry business. It's Jam Donovan Designs, which is kind of kitty corner from Master Sports down there. Most of you know where Master Sports is at, or kind of right next door to Norman's. Okay. And it was interesting. I read through, I've known Janine forever, and I worked at the bank when she got her small business loan at the bank. Okay. I don't think I was her loan officer. I don't remember. It's been that long ago. But I remember Janine doing business with us and whatnot. But it's kind of cool. She goes, here, I'm going to read you a bit of this. Sorry, I don't normally like to just read things. But she said she started working on a business plan through Bear Paw Development Corp. through a business plan writing course that they called Fast Track. She added at the end of the course, they submitted her business plan and won first prize for her work. So that's kind of cool. She said it was very exciting because she knew she had a focus and I knew where to go to get her business started, Donovan said. After finishing the course, she submitted her business plan to Small Business Administration for Women's Pre-Qualified Small Business Loan, which is a small business loan specifically for women who own 51% or more of the business. I'm not sure that that's still available. I haven't checked with the SBA for a while. Since I've been out of the lending business, I haven't double checked on that. It still could be that they have some of those priority loans or some pre-qualification things through the SBA. They've really changed up the programs. The program she got her loan through is probably called the 7A, and I'm not even sure they do the 7A anymore. Okay, they've kind of changed up a lot of the small business guaranteed loans. But anyhow, through the Small Business Administration, after making small adjustments, she was awarded a guaranteed loan for up to 90% of the loan request. That's the part I don't think exists anymore. But it was still up to her to find financing for the rest. Donovan then took her business plan to 2 different banks in town before she got a loan from Independence Bank, she said. And she added that she received the loan in March and 1995 and first opened the doors of her business in June of that same year. So she said the banks were all impressed with her business plan. Many of the people who came in for a business plan do not tend to have many of the people she wrote that come in for a business loan do not tend to have a business plan. Boy, I can attest to that, having been a lender for 20 years or close to 20 years. People would come in, they have a great idea, and you'd start asking them a couple questions and they just wouldn't even have a clue. Okay, so not only is it important to have a business plan, it's important for you to do the business. Boy, that goes back, your hat.
Yeah, I found it at the thrift store.
Oh, you're kidding. Holy cow. Good old Northern Montana College. 1990, about this time is when it changed its name, if I remember right. So 94 and 95, so cool. Sorry to interrupt everything, but that was, I thought, worth interrupting for. So I think I still got an NMC bumper sticker in my office, and maybe a couple old banners too that are NMC. So she said, if I could give any advice to someone that's wanting to start their own business, is to really take the time to put together a business plan with full financials and projections into the next 3 years. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to follow her advice, or you guys are going to follow her advice and create a good business plan. It's not so much the fast track, like they did there. I think what they did there, though, is they'd meet for 8, 10, 12 hours, and then the people would go home and they'd work on their plans, spend a lot of time, and then you go back and have them reviewed. So it's not going to be a whole lot different than what we do here. You guys are going to have some class time to work on this, okay? I can tell you for sure that the folks at Bear Paw Development, which is in the Ryan building, everybody know where the Ryan building's at? Do you know where First Bank's at? Or U.S. Bank, I'm sorry, it's U.S. Bank, okay? Right straight to the west of U.S. Bank is a pretty good-sized brick building, and upstairs in that building is Bear Paw Development. And they come into my small business management class every fall, and we talk about it, and I say, I'm doing entrepreneurship in the spring. Is it okay if I send some students down there? And they say, absolutely, we'd love to see them. And I think in all the years I've been doing this, there's maybe been one student that's gone down there and asked them for a little bit of advice, okay? So that's what they're there for. If you want to go down and get a little input from them, great, have at it. And they're more than willing to sit with you and spend a little bit of time also. They're not going to write it for you, and they'll tell you that, but they've got access to resources, things that you guys are going to be looking for, and you'll spend a lot of time on the internet, and you'll spend some time doing some other things. You might be able to call them up or go down and see them, and they got it at their fingertips, because that's what they do every day, all day, right? And so you say, what's the traffic count This I can look up on the internet, I think. But what's the traffic? How many cars go along Highway 2 through Havre every day? You know there's statistics for that, and you can find those. Yeah, yep. Okay, it might give you an idea of your business. Certainly something you could put in the business plan. You know, of the 5,000 cars or whatever it is. Okay, that go through Havre every day on Highway 2. Okay, if I get X amount of them to stop at my business, you know, I'll be able to break even or make money or whatever the case may be. So again, they can probably access those resources in seconds. You might do some searching. So there may be some times when it may save you a lot of time and effort. Just give them a call or go down and visit them. Joe LaPlante or, what's the gal's name? I'll try to remember on Thursday. But Joe, go and ask for Joe, and if it's not Joe that you should talk to, it's the other gal that's down there, and either one of them be happy to help you, I'm sure, get that type of information or any type of information, or give you some feedback. You know, if you want somebody else to give you a little bit of feedback, that's great. Okay, can you team up on your project? Yeah. Okay, that's fine. I don't have any problems with that. Max 3, 4 maybe, you know. Come and talk to me if you think there's 4 of you that want to work on a plan together. Okay. You know, I just want to make sure that you got the right type of plan then, and that you're going to put the right kind of effort into it and those types of things. Okay, because I want everybody to do a little bit of everything when we work on this. Everything should be in the content section up here. So you click on it. The syllabus, if I remember right, I should have kind of tentative dates on here, and I've already opened the syllabus here, so you've already looked at it. Here's the grading. You know, weekly assignments and quizzes, and you'll see there I say instructor's discretion. Okay. Well, if you guys are showing up and working and doing everything right, I'm going to be just happy as a clam. Okay. If all of a sudden I show up on a Tuesday or Thursday and there's half the class here, we're probably going to have a quiz. Okay. And it'll probably be a double bonus quiz or something like that, right? Okay. So those could happen. Be aware of that. I like you to come to class. I know there's some people taking this at a distance, and maybe that doesn't seem fair, but I like you to be here. And it's your best opportunity to set aside a couple hours a week to come in and actually work on this. And you got the best advisor, you know, to help you with your plan sitting right up here, because I'm the one that's ultimately going to grade them. You know, and so I'm more than happy to give you some ideas about what you ought to put in there so that maybe you'll achieve a better grade when the time comes. Business plan assignments, 100 points each, and you'll see kind of how I've broken that down. I'll show you when we go back to the content section. Business plan reviews, that's you guys helping me actually when we get down to the end. Okay, then there's going to be presentations, okay, and the final project. So we break down the business plan, and I think I got it broken into 4 major sections. Ultimately, then you're gonna submit a final project. What's the final project gonna look like? Oh, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if it pushes 100 pages. Okay, a lot of that, there's a decent amount of that that's just external data that you're going to accumulate that's going to be added to the appendix. The amount that you write, actually, that you're going to write for this business plan is going to be 30, 40 pages. Okay. And you got a whole semester to do that. A large part of that's going to be your marketing plans, probably going to be the biggest part of the writing. Okay, that takes a lot of effort in the writing end of things. Business description takes a little effort, you know, in the writing and whatnot. Okay, but a lot of the other stuff is in the appendix. You get all your financial statements. You know, that's 15 pages. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to do all those. Well, some of you, very few of you, have I had in financial business finance. Maybe you had it from Chris. I don't know. Has everybody had business finance? Not everybody, because it wouldn't be required for the minors. So, if I'm not mistaken, I thought it was. Oh well. We'll get through that. I'll walk you through the financials. The template that we have for the financials is just so sweet. We used to really struggle with it because we had we had the various forms, worksheets for Excel, and then you'd have to put them together and kind of tie them together, and it was kind of a pain. And now SCORE, which is Service Corps of Retired Executives, they've built a template and everything's already tied together. I mean, literally, you get to enter some numbers. I'm not going to tell you that it's completely painless and completely easy, but everything's tied together, and it really works slick. I mean, it is really I think it's a really nice program. So those 3 years worth of financial projections, it comes along fairly simply, okay? You guys and how you're deriving the numbers is what's going to be more important, right? You know, where'd you come up with your sales estimate? You know, it's not going to be enough to say, I just think, okay? You're going to have to tell me how you came up with your sales estimate. And there's different ways you can do that, you know. Sometimes it might be traffic count. Geez, there's 100 cars that go by here every day. If 10 of them stop, and you know, the average spending of a customer at a convenience store, you know, aside from gas, is $12.47. If I get 10 people to come in my store, and you know, it's going to be $124 a day times, you know, 365 days a year. There I go. You know, there's my sales estimate, right? And I make it sound pretty easy. It's a little bit more difficult than that, obviously, looking up the numbers and kind of figuring those things out. And we're in rural Montana. It's a little bit different up here than big cities sometimes. But grading, you know, it's pretty standard. Yeah, I do have kind of the tentative schedule. And it's tentative. We'll kind of see how things go. Normally, and I maybe should move this to the back. I used to do all the finances at the back, but because they were so difficult in the past, I'd get there and then a lot of people wouldn't get the financials done, and that's kind of the most important part. And it was just because it was tough, you know, and so I moved that to the front so I could make sure that everybody get through the financials, and then we'd work on the rest of it. You should change your financials as you work along on your project. Okay, you're going to make some estimates here at the front end, like for marketing. And you're going to start writing up your marketing plan, and you're going to realize that, geez, newspaper advertisements cost $100 for a little ad that big, and if I run 4 of those a month, that's $400, and I only budgeted $150 a month. Oh, I'm going to have to make a change, right? Okay, so you should plan that you'll make some changes to those financials as you go along. I fully expect that. So we'll look at the financials. Yeah, I'm going to grade you on the financials, but I fully expect that you'll have to go back and make some changes to those as we go along. So, okay. We get done with that about the first week of February, the financials. You'll do the financial statements themselves, and then you're going to do a write-up. Okay, where you're going to explain, again, that's where you're going to start explaining to me where you came up with some of those numbers, right? You know, where you came up with some sales numbers. Some of that writing you may change too, and again, it may get back to, you're going to make some estimates about marketing expenses, and honestly, you may change those when the time comes because you do the marketing plan and you realize that you need to budget a little more or less, whatever the case may be, so, okay. Then we get into the marketing plan. We do that second. The management and organization plan. I'm going to give you a template too for this. Okay, I'm going to show you, actually there's 2 different templates. One that I have and another one I just found yesterday. I think I was looking around. They're basically the same one. They're also from the Service Corps of Retired Executives. It's just sweet. It's going to give you a good layout. I combine a couple of these things. For example, the management and organization, I think they've got it divided up into an organizational plan and something else. Operational plan, I think, and a management plan, I think, is what they've broken it up into. And that's fine. We'll kind of, you guys you'll do them separately, but I'm going to combine them as far as the grading goes for that particular section. And they've got description of the business. They divide that into a description of the product/service and a description of the business itself. Okay. And so, same thing. I'm going to combine those in terms of the grade. You know, I'll probably just call it description of the business, but it'll be both of those things. And you'll see that when we look at the template here in a little bit. Okay. Towards the end there, you'll do your executive summary. That's the shortest thing you'll write for this. It's 2 pages max. Okay, 2 pages max, but it'll be the most difficult thing that you write for the business plan. Okay. Here's how business plans work when you go to the bank. Okay, you take your business plan in, you lay it down there, the lender looks at it, they read that executive summary. If and only if that is compelling, will they bother to look at the financials, and that's what they'll look at next. They'll flip all the way back to the appendix and they'll look at the financials because that's what lenders like to see. Okay, If the financials make sense, if and only if the financials make sense, then they may go back and start reading other parts of your business plan. Okay, so you got to get past those initial steps there, those initial barriers, if you want to call it that the lender is going to look at in order to succeed, getting your plan accepted for a loan. And that's what you're writing the plan for, either to a lender or a potential investor. Okay, could be either or both. That's up to you guys. While I'm thinking about it, and this is a little bit off topic of where I'm at, but I'll get back. We really classify, this class is called Entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurial ventures are different. This is not, Janine's not an entrepreneurial venture. She's a small business. Okay, what's the difference? Most of you are probably going to be more interested in writing a plan for a small business versus an entrepreneurial. Okay, it's kind of splitting hairs a little bit, but if you look up the real definition, an entrepreneurial enterprise is one that a person starts and they want to get going and they have an exit plan 5 or 6 or 7 years down the line. Okay, the perfect example of that, you guys, I don't even know if, have any of you been in my small business management class? Were you in my small business management? I don't think you were. Anyhow, perfect example of that's guy Bob Quinn. He's southeast of Big Sandy, and he's started, I don't know, he's on his 5th or 6th business now that he started. If you see anything that has Kamut, K-A-M-U-T on it, okay, he owns all the rights to that. Okay, he licenses that out. So anything that gets sold with Kamut, he gets a few cents off, right? That was about the second business he started. The first one he started was called, I think, Montana Milling. Organic grain, created flour, shipped the flour out of Montana. He sold that. There's a place in Fort Benton that still does that, so he sold that too. The Kamut, his son-in-law is running now. I think his son-in-law is, because he's moved on. Now he's doing safflower oil, taking it to restaurants and or other food service places, using the oil, recycling it, taking it back to his farm, and using it in his tractors as a biodiesel. So he just goes on and on. He comes up with new things. That's what intrigues him. He's in his 60s, but he just loves doing that kind of stuff. He might even be 70. He's wrote a book too called Grain by Grain Grain by Grain. It's pretty good. It's a good book. I just finished it here a while back. So anyhow, he's an entrepreneur. He's a serial entrepreneur. He'll tell you he can't stand running businesses. He likes to get them up and get them going. He loves to come up with ideas. He loves to think about it. I'm sure when he's out on his tractor doing his farming, he just likes to do those things and then get it going, get it up and operational, and away he goes. You can get crackling Kamut too, by the way. Have you guys tried that? Yeah. It's kind of like corn nuts.
Yeah, they're pretty good, actually.
Yeah. They have 2 different flavors. There's a regular salty one and then the churro or, huh?
I was thinking of the, is there vinegar ones or?
I don't think so. Salt and
Some
vinegar.
of them are very-
Do they? Yeah, cool. He usually brings me some when he comes in, so I don't have to stop and buy some. You can get it in bulk at 2J's in Great Falls. I know that. I get it in the big bags and whatnot. So it's pretty good. Okay. The rubric you probably don't need to look at yet. That's the rubric. Yeah, but you're welcome to. I think that's the rubric that I use when I ultimately grade your final project. I think I've also got, I may not have them in here, but I've got a rubric I know for the marketing. I'm sure I do for the marketing portion. Okay. Templates. This is the one, this is an older one from SCORE, and when I say older, just a couple of years. That's why I say I got looking, I opened this one up and I thought, oh, that's great. I better go see if they've updated it, and by golly, they have. But you may like this one better, and that's fine. It's in some ways, I think it's a little bit cleaner. Here we got, you're going to have your table of contents, right? The executive summary, last thing you write, but it goes right at the very front. Okay, that's what's going to be at the very front of your business plan. It talks about company description, product and service description. I kind of combine those two. Then you do the marketing plan. That's going to be probably the biggest part. That's going to require the most writing. The operational plan and the management and organization plan, again, I combine those two. Okay. You will do a personal financial statement. Okay. You can make things up. I don't care. That's fine, you know, on your personal financial statement. On the other stuff, I don't want you making up stuff. And then it's kind of got some of the financials here broken down like this. They call it startup expense and capitalization in the financial plan. What I'm going to tell you is that you're going to write just a financial plan. And again, all the spreadsheets are going to end up in the appendix, and you'll refer to those then in your write-up. Okay? And so I'm going to go back here because the new score is here, and I'll download that template, and I'll get this loaded onto Brightspace so that you guys can do it, because you may prefer this one. We got a confidentiality agreement that I suppose that you could make me sign, you know, when I read your plan, so I'm not gonna. A little bit more detail on this one, obviously. And if you go through it, it tells you too some of the things, you know, and I'll tell you some of the things in class too, you know, but it tells you some of the things that you should be putting in there, right? So it gives you some step-by-step. That's why I don't require a textbook for this class. There's just all kinds of resources online. Okay, and having this template to work with is great. What I'm going to keep pushing you guys is your job is to go out and do the research and whatnot on your particular business. Okay, and then add that, put it into a good form, a good write-up that I can understand, that I can read, that it's nice, you know, it's presentable, and you will do a presentation too at the end too. That's what we'll do finals weekend here. Is we'll have presentations. Everybody have their business plan. Okay, so be thinking about that too. But, you know, this template is just awesome, okay? And when I taught this class 15 years ago, we didn't have templates and whatnot. I had some, but they were a lot more basic than this, and a lot of hard work's been taken out of it for you guys. But because of that, then I suppose my expectations are a little higher too, so there you go. Yep, I'll get that uploaded. It's kind of cool. Here's the financial projections. I guess I should see if they've updated this too. Dang, I didn't want to open it like that. Let's download it. It's Excel. I'll refer to it as the workbook, and each of the other things, each separate tab down here, I'll call a worksheet. So the whole thing is called the workbook, and then these are worksheets down here. Please go take a look at the directions here. I'll assign that for Thursday too. You guys all have to read this directions tab and read it thoroughly, because it tells you a lot about what you can and can't do with this spreadsheet. It also tells you that when you go to try to enter some things, these are locked. Okay, these spreadsheets are locked, and the code to unlock them is just simply 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not locked to make it a secret. It's just locked so you don't go in and make a bunch of weird changes and, you know, screw things up because you're messing around and whatnot. Okay, so when you go to enter something, all of a sudden it's going to tell you can't do it. You got to go up to, I think it's protect or unprotect the sheet. I think, yeah, password to unprotect, right? So it's review, protect sheet, or protect workbook. I think you could do the whole workbook then too. Yeah. And that should unprotect it then, so that then you can enter in your data and whatnot. Save it often, you know, save it to your Z drive, save it to your jump drive, save it to whatever you have, okay? If you want to, you could submit it often, right? Just put a little note that says this isn't your final version or something, right? But you could submit it to D2L or Brightspace, and then I'd have it, and that'd be fine, and it would be saved there in case something goes wrong. Something goes awry, you could always come back. Okay. We'll start on Thursday. I'll walk you through these. What I'll do is I'll spend, you know, probably a lot of class periods. I'll spend 10-15 minutes. Some it's going to take more, going through some of this stuff. And then I'll turn you loose and let you not leave, but let you go to work on this, okay, in class, where I can come around and say, hey, let's take a look, see what you're doing, okay. So what this says too in the directions, and that's why I want you to read the directions, is that orange cells are perfectly fine for making changes to. They expect you to make some in most of the oranges, not all, but most. Okay, Yellow or gold, whatever you want to call that, it's okay to make changes, just not as common that you would. Okay? White spaces, please listen to me. Do not make changes to any of the white spaces unless I direct you otherwise. Okay? At the very end, there's going to be 2 of them, I think, that we change. But don't make any changes unless I specifically tell you to. Okay, to white spaces, because it'll really screw things up. There's a lot of formulas embedded in these things, and a lot of them are in these white spaces. You know, that's just got some, no big deal. But you get to, you get some here with a little more complicated formulas, right? And you start entering in some numbers or something to there, and it screws things up. And these are all connected, you know, and so it screws it up for 3 worksheets, and next thing you know, we're back there trying to fix it, and oftentimes I say, you know, it's probably just easier if you start over. Okay, so don't mess with the white squares or the white cells unless I tell you to. Okay, and we'll go through, I may go through 1 or 2 of these. I'll go back and look at my tentative schedule a day for the first week or so, and you'll get going on it. Again, you're going to be making some estimates here that I fully expect you're going to change as you get developing your plan. You know, you'll come back. It's easy to change it. Okay, once you get it down and you understand the connection between the statements and whatnot, to come back and say, geez, I need to up my marketing budget a little bit. It's pretty simple. Okay, I need to up my sales forecast a little bit, or maybe my sales forecast is a little too aggressive. Okay, it'll be pretty easy to change once you get it all set up and ready to go. Okay. Payroll. Again, keep it simple. You know, don't plan on hiring 20 people. You know, that may be a little bit of an auspicious or aggressive. Additional inputs. We had some things in here. You're going to make some changes in some of these: orange, yellow, gold, whatever color those are. Operating expenses. That'll be a big one, right? Years 2 and 3, some cash flow is kind of cool. Cash flow. Income statement. This will be really important. You'll notice on here everything's white, so you won't be making any changes on here. But why it's really important is you're going to make your sales projections, your operating expense projections, your cost of goods sold projections, payroll. And then if you come and look at your income statement and you're losing $150,000, might have to go back and make some adjustments, right? Okay, so. This is kind of your what if, right? Well, what if I increase my sales by 10% or something like that? You know, does that put me into a profit? Perfectly normal to lose, just to show that you're going to lose money maybe in the first year, a little bit, okay? Maybe even into the second year. You know, well, by the 3rd year or so, you probably better be showing that you're making some money, or a lender's going to be hard pressed to, yeah.
So for this, do we include an exit plan at the end, since it's
You could. You know, that's not a part of the template or anything, but if your idea is an entrepreneurial idea and that's what you want to do, absolutely. Yeah, I'm fine with that. So most people kind of choose something that's more of a small business, you know, that they think they'd like to start and run and operate and do it as a family thing, basically their job. You know, that's what most people choose, but if you prefer an entrepreneurial thing, that's fine. I mean, all the basics are going to be pretty much the same, other than you would have an exit plan. So, yeah. Okay, balance sheet, same thing, right? Income statement for years 2 and 3, they're all white. So these are going to these are going to fill in on their own as you fill in the other stuff. Okay? And so it looks kind of daunting, but when you look at just the number of orange spaces, and you won't put numbers in all of them, you know, it's really it's been simplified a lot, trust me, from the old days. So, okay, that's what we'll start on Thursday. We'll get going on that. Come back, see what else we got here. Oh, your other assignment for Thursday, if you do think you want to work in a group, let me know. Okay, who you would be working with and what project you think that you would like to do. If you know some of those distance students, you can look at the class list. Right? You guys can look at the class list too, can't you? Yeah. If they're not here, if there's somebody on that list and you think you might like to work with them, that's fine. Okay. I put in a few links here. I think I got the SCORE link. A separate kind of a market plan outline, may or may not use. Porter's 5 Forces, it's Michael Porter taught at Harvard, professor. He's kind of considered the guru of strategy. And you'll find as you're going through this, there's a place where you could do a SWOT analysis. And that's fine. I actually prefer this Porter's 5 Forces. So when we get to that section, I may talk a little bit about Porter's 5 Forces and encourage you to maybe think about doing that instead of the SWOT analysis, or both. But I leave that up to you guys. The SWOT is probably still the most commonly used. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats is probably still more common than Porter's 5 Forces, but I kind of like that. Just some ideas about things that you put in a marketing plan. And again, when we get to each of those sections, I'm going to come in, I'm going to spend 15, probably at the start of the marketing section, I may end up spending 45 minutes talking about this is what needs to be in your marketing stuff, right? Okay, but you're also going to have a couple of weeks to work on that particular section. So financials, marketing, management, business description, executive summary, table of contents, final. I might have some old videos in here on some of these that you could reference, and maybe if you wanted to get ahead a little bit, you could watch these. Okay, these ones are just on the financial, and then of course the marketing one there. So ultimately organizing the plan, how you're going to put it together. At the end you'll get it bound, or you can put it in a 3-ring binder, whichever you prefer. They used to do it over here at Media Reprographics, and I'm sure they still do. It used to cost all of 65 cents. They probably charge like $1.50 now or something, but you get it nicely bound, with a wire deal or plastic ones or whatever. So when we get there, we'll check on that when we get towards the end, because that's kind of nice if you guys can deliver it to me in that kind of a format, and it looks good. And then I'll grade them, and you are welcome. That's in the spring, and most everybody takes off and they're gone for the summer. If you come in my office, you'll see I got stacks and stacks of old business plans in there. I always say you're welcome to come get them back from me if you want, and you are. Seldom, most of you are seniors and you're probably getting done and you're moving on, and so and you probably got it on your computer anyhow. If you needed to reprint it, you could, but they are yours, right? And you're sure welcome to come and get them. But it does take me a while to grade them when we get to finals week, because they're, like I say, they're 100 pages. That said, we're doing them section by section, so I should have a pretty good idea of your sections. I'll give you feedback as we go through. I'll grade you on the marketing plan. I'll give you feedback. I fully expect that you're going to make those changes or updates, based on my feedback, so that when I do the final one, I should be able to just look at it and say, "Ooh, geez, they made a lot of corrections. It looks good." Give them 100 for that section anyhow in the final. So, okay. How am I doing? You guys have any questions? There was a resource. Where the heck was that? I got it in here, I think. Maybe one of those links. And it had some ideas for businesses. If you're was it this one? If you're struggling, if you don't know what you want to do. Oh, this has just all kinds of information about how to write the business plan and whatnot. But there was business plan, how to set up, how to pitch, how to hire, how to set prices. I think under Inc. I had an article or a link to a site that just gave you a whole long list of potential businesses. If you had, if you were struggling, you didn't know what you wanted to do, you could look through that, and it might give you some ideas about types of businesses that you might want to do. So I'll tell you what, if you're struggling with that, let me know, and I'll find that site and get it to you. So, okay. Any questions? None? Y'all got that deer in the headlights look? Man. It'll seem kind of daunting right now, but when you break it down section by section and as we go through it, it's not as bad as what it might seem. Okay. I think Thursday we should get everybody up here in the A row and the B row. I don't want to give any C's or D's, Kayvon or Seth. Okay. I think one last thing. I think next Tuesday I'll be here. I'll be on time. I may leave a little bit earlier. Some friends of ours, I think, are finalizing a domestic adoption, and they invited us to go to that. And so, but it's at 3:00, so I'll come, and I might be here till about 2:45, and then I might buzz out so I can go and witness that. So, yeah. Questions? See you Thursday. Yeah.
Do you think I could look at old business plans to see?
Kind of get an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, come to my office and I'll let you glance at a couple of them anyhow. There's a whole lot of them that are, that were B's and C's, so I expect you to do one that's an A, right? Everybody's got questions. You didn't want to ask them though in front of everybody? What the heck?
We're gonna hear them anyway, it seems like. I have a small business plan built
Yeah,
for a trucking company. It's not as extensive as what you're looking for.
Okay.
But would you mind if I built off of that?
oh, that's fine.
Okay,
See?
I'll have to bring it in.
Yeah, bring it in. We'll take a look and see what kind of changes and whatnot you want to make, so,
Okay,
okay?
that'll work.
Yep, you guys are gone.
Yeah.
I know that.
Okay.
Is that your only question?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, you guys are traveling. Good luck. Have a safe trip. That's a long trip, so, man, get lots of sleep on the bus and play well. Email me your business ideas, though. You should still be able to maybe do that.
Okay.
And you can change your mind. If you got something in mind and you think this is what I want next week, or you get halfway through the financials even, it's probably not too late to change your mind. Once you get starting writing the marketing and whatnot, then you better be pretty well established, so. Okay?
Sounds good, thank you.
Tell Kayvon that too.
All right.
Email it to me. Okay. Thanks, Haley.
I figured I'd just let you know the 31st and the 6th will be gone.
Where you going?
31st, I have to cross my brother over to be an Eagle Scout,
Really? Cool.
and then the 6th, I'm heading back home for the 21st.
On the 6th, you're heading back home for
My
the,
21st.
for your 21st birthday.
Party.
Yeah, that's good. Get you out of town for that.
Yeah.
We don't need any more. Yeah, didn't they have some arrests up at the dorms here just last week or so?
Well, it surprised me.
Yeah, I think it was in the newspaper. Might even be in this newspaper. I don't know. So, all right. Remind me when we get a little
Yeah,
closer
I
to those
figured
two.
I'd just
So,
let you know now,
Yeah.
and then I'll let you know, I'll pressure you an email.
Yeah.
a couple days before.
perfect.
So,
Perfect. Sounds
All
good. All right. Thanks.
well,